Imagine being in a cult that worships a giant chicken. Actually, now that I think about it, that's kind of the plot of the Jimmy Neutron movie. I mean, I have always thought of Nephthys as more of like a Fang Wan anyway. Fuck. Alright, what's good, Simps? The worst duelist here. Man, it's been a long time since we've had this deck on the channel. But really, that's just because I've been theory crafting this deck for months now. Of course, with Diviner of the Heralds coming out, next week, next Friday, it seems like the perfect time to kind of get the profile out there and kind of just, show off what I've got, what I've thought of, and what I'm going to be playing at least going forward with the Nephthys strategy. Obviously, I have put a lot of time into this deck. I really do love the Nephthys cards. I mean, for Christ's sakes, Conductor of Nephthys is the emblem of the channel, and really more of like the mascot of the channel as well. And I think the Nephthys archetype as a whole kind of really encompasses what my channel is about. It's just, the possibility of exploring untouched potential and just the endless possibilities of deck building in Yu-Gi-Oh! To begin with. Really, it's kind of like if there's a will, there's a way. You can kind of make something work. Now, with that being said, this obviously still is a casual deck, but I think what I have here is probably the most consistent version that I have ever come up with, especially now that Calamities is out of the format, so I don't have to worry about building around that card, seeing as how the Dracos were really your only options before, or rather the Troop Kings, were your only options before. But yeah, we'll quit talking about it, and we're just gonna, break it out and look at the list. See what I've been cooking up all this time. Okay, really quick though, before we do actually get into the profile, I have a really quick mail day that I want to do. I never really opened my mail on the channel, so I figured this would be a good time. I just got this right before I went to go get lunch before recording the video, so yeah, let's crack it open. This actually is from Pack Official TCG, so it's merch all day long. And it is a playmat as well, so let's take a look at what we got here. I've long anticipated this. I was waiting on this for a while. I got some pre-order a while back, and it is actually a single-player mat. So I got a single-player mat because no one really has single-player mats. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to have one of these. Also, with pack stuff, it's all very limited. So I figured it'd be kind of cool to have the single-player version of the Artemis playmat. I figured it would be perfect to wait until I got the playmat in to do the Nephthys profile, because blue mat, blue cards, just kind of seems like it would make sense. But yeah, that was it. I just really wanted to show this off. It's really nice, good quality. It's like a flat material, not really like a fuzzy material. Attention to detail on these kind of like swirls here. The moon, of course, and the moon maiden herself. The two-player one is also very nice, but like I said, I kind of wanted to just go for the single player because no one really has single-player cloth mats, and it's got like, the standard kind of threading on the bottom. It does feel a little stiff though, but it is brand new, so, I digress. Okay, so of course, with the absolute hard-on that I have for the deck, I have Herald Proxies. So, yeah, starting off the deck, we have the Triple Diviner. Of course, this card's absolutely nuts. It is new, so I will read the effect. Normals or special summon, you can send one fairy monster from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard. If you do, increase this card's level by the level of the sent monster till the end of the turn. If this card is tributed, you can special summon one level 2 or lower fairy from your deck except Diviner. And of course, each effect is once per turn. The card's a tuner. It's level 2, which is perfect for the deck as well. I mean, granted, it has a level modulation for anything else, becoming a 6 if you send it off Herald. But, this card, of course, just, makes the deck overall, tons of decks, makes tons of deck overall far more consistent. But it is just incredibly huge for the Nephthys archetype. Just having the ability to make a lot of your older 3-card combos into immediate 2-card combos. Yeah, it's just, this card's insane. And then the target that we play off of it is a pretty crazy card as well. Something that probably haven't seen play in a while. But yeah, Triple Diviner. So next we have our Nephthys Ritual monsters. We have the Triple Conductor of Nephthys, and we have the Triple Devotee of Nephthys. So it is very important that you play 3 and 3. I see some people maybe play 2 of this, and other people maybe play 2 of this. I think that is incorrect, just because of the fact that both of them have very important roles in the list. So obviously, they both have similar effects. I'll briefly go over them. So the Conductor of Nephthys on Ritual Summon can summon a Nephthys Ritual monster from your deck, and it is treated as a Ritual Summon. So of course, whatever you bring out will have its effect when it is Ritual Summon. And of course, it can be revived from the grave and stuff, because technically it was Ritual Summon. And then the second effect is, if this card is destroyed by a Nephthys card effect, during the next standby phase, excuse me. Most of the Nephthys cards are during your next standby phase. This one specifically is during the next standby phase. You can destroy a Nephthys card from your hand, field, or deck. Actually, it's any combination of the three, so you can do field and deck, hand and deck, you know, hand and field, so on, or all three. So yeah, that's quite huge, because this will, you know, set up more procs for you on the standby phase. So the Devotee of Nephthys does something very similar. When this card is Ritual Summoned, you summon a Nephthys monster from your deck. And the second effect is you can destroy a Nephthys card in your hand and special summon this card from the graveyard. So of course this is an extender and it's a recovery play, and this is like your big bomb, and also like kind of your follow-up play as well to get you into, you know, additional Devotees and stuff. Of course, each effect is once per turn, so if you have 2 Devotees in grave, you can't use both. Even outside of that, you need to play 3 of this card because pre-prep is a card. We also play the 1 Cerulean Sacred Phoenix in Nephthys for the same kind of reason. You can add this card off of pre-prep. Also, you can special summon it off of Conductor of Nephthys' effect, and then it will come back into standby phase if it gets destroyed. So really quick, what this card does: during your main phase, you can destroy Nephthys cards from your hand or field, and you destroy an equal number of cards your opponent controls. It's non-targeting, which is actually pretty good. I mean, considering it's a fucking Nephthys card. So yeah, that's actually pretty good. It is destruction removal, but it's non-targeting removal at the very least. And then, of course, if this card is destroyed by Battle or card effect during the next standby phase, during your next standby phase, you can special summon it back. So yeah, of course, again, it's very important to play 3 of these so you have a grind game and also pre-prep as well. It's very important to play 3 of these because this is your main card, so you need to have the consistency of playing 3. So next we have the regular Nephthys effect monsters. We have the 1 Sacred Phoenix in Nephthys. I used to actually hate playing this card and the ritual one as well. I used to only just play this one. But honestly, the more that I play with the deck, it's really not terrible to draw it, because the main combo that you do in the deck, which I will probably show at the end of the video, you add either this or the blue into your hand. So basically what the idea is you want to pop this so it's in rotation for follow-up. So drawing it really isn't terrible because you have the additional target as well to search off of your Link monster. That is the only downside of, you know, drawing the birds, is you want to search them off the Link monster. But yeah, I mean, you'd be surprised that this card actually does put in work. I mean, granted, you don't want to draw it, but it really isn't that bad because it's part of your combo anyway. Like, part of the main combo is setting this up, so it's really not the end of the world. And then we have the double Disciple of Nephthys. So I used to play 3 of this just because it was like kind of the main normal summon of the deck, but now I kind of play the 2 as just like an additional normal summon to your Diviner. So what the card says is you blow up a card in your hand, and then you can add a Nephthys monster from your deck to your hand. Unfortunately, the effect to add a spell or trap is locked behind its floating effect. So if this card is destroyed by card effect, then on your next standby phase, you can add a Nephthys spell or trap. And you only play 1 Nephthys spell or trap because all the other ones are terrible. That's kind of like the one thing that the deck really needs support-wise, is just better spells and traps outside of the ritual spell, which actually is quite good, but you know, I digress. There's not much in the ways of consistency for the archetype. Generic, or at least within the archetype, not generically. And then we have the 2 Matriarch of Nephthys. I used to play just one of this, and I used to play one of the Chronicler of Nephthys in the spot, but I honestly just kind of ended up getting tired of drawing this. Because if you only play 1, this is part of the combo to summon out a deck, so if you draw it, you have to normal summon it, which used to be fine, but nowadays, because of the fact that we're normal summoning Diviners, it's not quite as optimal to open this. Like, it's not... You used to be able to get away with it, now you really can't get away with opening this card. So I ended up bumping it up to 2. And the main reason we played this one is because this one's effect is you can blow up a card in your hand and then add a Nephthys card from your graveyard, and then it does the same thing whenever it's destroyed by card effect. So in the next standby phase, if you blew this up, you get to add a Nephthys card from grave as well. So it's a nice recursion. However, the Matriarch of Nephthys says you can target a level 4 or lower Nephthys monster in your grave, and then you can destroy a card in your hand, and if you do, special summon it. And then if this card is destroyed by card effect, it special summons itself during the next standby phase. So you still get that recursion in the form of this, because typically what you would do is, if you were blowing this up, you were just adding this back to hand, whereas if we just play 2 of this, we can just cut out the middleman there and then just special summon this back to the board, so we can have, you know, the ability to revive Devotee by its own effect, and then revive another Nephthys monster through this card's effect, and you know, hopefully get there through whatever other floating that we have going on in the deck for your recovery play. I think nowadays this is kind of perfect for these guys. Yeah, I feel like you really don't need to play anything else, especially not something like Defender or any of the other Nephthys cards. Trust me, I've looked into them. They're just simply not good. The only thing that I really do kind of miss sometimes is playing triple of this, just for consistency reasons, but, you know, we've kind of moved past that with the deck's consistency anyway. So, yeah, that's the Nephthys cards. So naturally, with the True King engine being out of the deck because BFD is now banned, we have to play other cards that will enable our Nephthys effects to not, you know, make us kind of go neg or wait on the floating, and we might just die out to that anyway, because we're trying to keep, you know, some form of card advantage still through having to destroy cards from our hand to, you know, trigger all of our cards. So we're playing triple copies of Baby Rock. This card does not miss timing off of any of your Nephthys cards, and also this card gives you the ability to go into Herald. It gives you the ability to go into half plays. It gives you the ability to end on Herald or go into Herald early, so that is quite nice. And most notably about this card, which is quite funny about it, it can special summon itself during the end phase off of your Simorgh Link. So you do have just bodies that will come out for free that you can have for follow-up plays if your Simorgh Link does live through the turn, so that's nice as well. The card just kind of does a lot for the strategy. It's also wind, which really doesn't matter. There is some synergies there, given on what extenders you choose to play in the deck. But yeah, the Baby Rock has been fantastic. And the new card I'm playing, a lot of Nephthys players have talked about this card, you know, just over the years that I've seen. But at least the year that I've been testing the deck, I've seen people talk about this card. But this card actually is insane in this deck. Not a lot of cards can use this. Yeah, trust me, I know it can be bricky because opening multiples does suck. But whenever you have the play with the Disciple or the Matriarch plus the 1 Baboon, and you're sitting there looking at the big chickens in your hand, this really just does a lot for you. For those that don't know, if this card is normal or special summon, you can draw a card and then place a card from your hand on the bottom of your deck, which actually can come up to potentially help you unbreak yourself. Like if you really don't have any other play other than normal Baboon, you can cycle a card, so that's nice. When we get to the spells and traps, you'll see that we're cycling into, you know, very top tier Yu-Gi-Oh cards, so. But the main effect of this card is whenever it's destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon any number of Boba Boons from your deck. So obviously the idea is like normal summon Disciple, pop the special 2, and it gives you the ability to go either, you know, fix your hand or go into Bamboozling Gossip Shadow so you can play through Nibiru or Interruption in general that way. Or, of course, it's just 2 Link Bodies, which is very nice. Because resolving Conductor of Nephthys with Diviner, but like by tributing Diviner, is 7 Link material. So this would make it 9, and the Baby Rock would make the combo 8, which is very nice. So yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed the Bow Baboons thus far. It definitely has done wonders for the strategy. Honestly, I feel like this is better than the True King engine that I used to play of 3 of the water, 3 of the wind, and 1 of the fire. So, you know. So the cards that are really less favorable to draw, I mean, of course, those are in here. We're playing the Simorgh Link, so naturally there's got to be at least one, obviously, being the barrier statue. But we have the Trickstar Nightshade. It's really not the end of the world because the Diviner can summon it from hand, but that's not obviously what we're trying to do. So if this card is sent to the graveyard for Link material for a Trickstar monster, you can special summon this card, banish it when it leaves the field. So that's pretty nice. Also, the effects once returned. So yeah, the card's honestly insane because this really does wonders for the deck in terms of, you know, typically whenever you're playing a ritual deck, you have to have a 3-card combo and you're going neg 1 bare minimum. Because, like, regardless of what pluses you're getting off your ritual monster, because you lose a card. But in playing this card with the Diviner, you immediately just replace the Diviner and then get an extra body because we are playing the Trickstar Link 1 in the extra deck. So it's just, the card's just insane, to be honest. Shout out to Mike, you're the man. You told me about this, and I'm very, very grateful for that. That has also really done wonders for the deck. There's other options you can play. I've seen people play the Cyber Angel Egg, the level 2. I think it's a Searcher in the end phase. I forget exactly what it does, but that card is like more of like a recursive card, where this card is more like an explosive card. And I'm trying to build a specific board, which again I'll get to whenever we get to the combo section of the video, but this really does wonders for trying to do that. Then we have the 1 statue. Of course, the statue is, you know, doesn't really need much explanation. And we are playing the 1 Apex Avian. This is a card that I have struggled with in this deck a lot recently. I draw this card a lot, I top deck this card a lot. It's really unfortunate, but just the fact that in your grind games, this being an option to come off the statue, or rather the Simorgh Link, is just, God, it's just so good. Like, I feel like it's almost necessary, but I've made some pretty questionable cuts trying to fit this in. I played 41. I really wanted to keep the deck 40 because, again, consistency is key with a deck like this. So, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I'm stuck with the Avian for right now. It is really good if you never draw this card. It's insane. But, you know, even then, like I said, drawing it isn't the worst because all of these cards can be summoned from hand. So, but obviously you don't want to draw them. And the Bow Baboon can also help put these cards back. So, just kind of adding to why that card is good. Okay, spells. This is where this deck just becomes really expensive because you just kind of have to play these options that I have in the deck to have the most consistent list possible. Stuff like prep isn't going to, get you there for what these cards are doing for you. So we have Triple Prosperity. This card, of course, needs no introduction, but obviously the ability to go first, see 11 cards is just crazy when you're playing a deck that is, again, relying on minimum 2 card to 3 card combos just because of the nature of ritual monsters. Yeah, the card's just absurd. This is one of the fucking craziest things for this deck. I tried Extravagance. I really hated it because it just really limits you because we're trying to play like a combo deck here, so that just doesn't really do a lot. So for the ritual spell, we have the Rebirth of Nephthys. This card can be used to ritual summon any Nephthys ritual monster. You must tribute monsters from your hand or field that equal or exceed the level, yada yada. And then if you tributed Cerulean Sacred Phoenix or Devotee of Nephthys, you can destroy 1 card in the field non-targeting before this card resolves, which is absolutely insane because it's one of those things where you activate this and your opponent doesn't know if you have it. So this card could also be like a form of removal on top of just being your ritual spell. So that's really cool. So we play the triple pre-fret because the card does list Cerulean Sacred Phoenix and Devotee in the card's text. Obviously it doesn't say that you use it to ritual some of those monsters, but the names are in fact in the text, which is very nice. So, I mean, of course, this is just one of those crazy consistency pieces. This card is just absolutely insane. It sets up, all the combos that you need to try to do. Like this plus Diviner is just like the absolute stones. Because the Diviner is going to search you the Conductor, this is going to get you the other 2 cards. You have Half Play at your disposal. You do a lot of stuff. So, unfortunately, the pre-prep cannot search the Conductor because the Conductor did not exist when this card came out. So that kind of sucks, and we're really just relying on like our triple copies of Extra Foolish and our triple copies of Diviner and our triple copies of the Conductor and the 2 Disciples to get to the Conductor. Something about this card, though, I've really considered playing 2 of this. And you'll see why whenever I show you the next couple of cards, because I did make somewhat of a questionable cut recently for the 3rd. This can clog, of course, but opening multiples of anything in this deck really isn't the biggest deal because of the fact that we have to blow up cards in our hand anyway to trigger our effects. So it's not the worst thing in the world, but I am considering very strongly putting this back down to 2 just as something of note. But yeah, we'll move on to the next section of the deck. So the next stuff we have is just absolute blowout cards. Double Ruler, I cut one of the Foolishes, or I cut one of the Rulers for the Foolish because I kept opening multiples of this, and whereas we do play Triple Tactics Talent at 3, where opening multiples of this sucks as well, I would much rather have double Talents than double Ruler, because if we do get hand trapped, the Talents is doing a lot more for us. And the main thing with the Extra Foolish over the 3rd Dark Ruler was this card just helps you get to combo and play through interactions. So, I don't know. I'm kind of torn right now what I exactly want to do with that, because having the Dark Ruler is incredibly powerful. But the way I'm looking at it also is we have access to this card, which is insane going 2nd, and we have access to Triple Pot to potentially get us into this. But again, it's one of those things where like the deck just kind of needs all the help that it can get. So we're playing these big money cards on top of a Call by the Grave to hopefully ensure that our combo does resolve. Because of course, hand traps have always been the bane of rogue decks, but hand trap can really end your turn sometimes in this deck. But this current variation actually does a very good job of playing through interaction and chain blocking for you. And stuff like this really does do wonders for the deck as well. Alright, so the extra deck, this is something that is probably still a work in progress. I'm definitely trying to work out the kinks on this a little bit still, but for the most part, I do like everything that is in here, and pretty much everything in this extra deck comes up. So we have the 1 Bloom. This is, of course, for your combo with your Trickstar Lilybell, or whatever its fucking name is. The Nightshade, Trickstar Nightshade. We have double Sacred Phoenix. This is something that I considered putting to 1 recently, but then I played more games with it, and the second one comes up. So what the card says is, once per turn, you can add 1 level 8 Winged Beast monster from your deck to your hand, and then you can add 1 Nephthys spell or trap from your graveyard. It's actually 1 ritual spell, excuse me, so it actually adds any ritual spell, which is really cool. And then the second effect is you can destroy a Nephthys monster with points to and special summon 1 with a different name from your graveyard, so that's definitely something as well. Which was something that came up a lot more whenever I played this card, but since I've cut it, you really don't need to use the second effect ever. I play 1 Howl because there's combo lines where you go into this, and it's also a good recovery play, just in general. 1 IP, this is part of the combo. We play 1 Win. This is a generic lane 2 that we play, but is also something that can get us out of the wind lock whenever we are stuck with a barrier statue, so we can, attempt to push for game. We have one Simorg. You know, this is part of the end board, part of the combo as well. With Appaloosa, this is really what we're mainly going into the IP with. It's a big problem with the deck is because we're ending on Barrier Statue, if we don't have access to any form of extender, like a hand of like double Diviner plus Spell or Monster, or Diviner plus Baboon or Mist Valley or whatever, we're really going to end up ending on IP Statue and Simorg. And there's usually like a leftover Nephthys monster. So basically, the plan with the Appaloosa is if they do threaten your statue, you really have no other choice but to use the IP to get into Appaloosa. I haven't really been able to come up with anything else to do with the IP yet, or something else to end on instead. I was going to try Dragoon, but of course, if you use Predaplant Verdant Anaconda, you cannot special summon the statue at the end phase. So, and also adding Dragoon adds more bricks, so I'm not really a fan of that either. So I don't know. These are kind of the main two slots that I'm kind of trying to figure out here, but I feel like there really is just nothing better for me to use at the current moment in time. So you have one Avermax. We're trying to end on this under the IP so that we can have like some more statue and Avermax to protect our statue. Can't be targeted, can't be destroyed by card effects, and your opponent can only special summon win. So that's a pretty sick end board if you ask me. And we have the one code so we can go for game. We're not playing sword. We just, you know, code's just broken. Last cards in the extra deck. One Nephthys for your Diviner, and then we play Triple Herald. The reason we're playing Triple Herald is because we gotta have one to send off Diviner, we gotta have one to send off Extra Foolish, we gotta have one that we can end on. And also playing multiple comes up if you're grinding. So, I don't know, I was gonna consider 2, but I ended up just sticking with the 3. Unfortunately, I also have mixed match priorities, so that kind of sucks, the mismatch. The mixed match definitely does suck. And the one Nephthys is just for going second for your Diviner.
Lol JK, I forgot this guy was still in the deck box. You gotta play one of this guy too, it helps you play through Nib and stuff. Also, you have the ability to end on it as well. Sorry. Back to the profile.
But yeah, that's the deck list. I'll go ahead and show the quick 2-card combo, and then, yeah, we'll call it a day. Alright, so this is going to be the standard 2-card combo. It's Diviner and access to monster or spell. Either way works. It's any access to the Conductor and any access to the Ritual spell. There's also lots of 3-card lines where you can do it without Diviner, but you go into like how can do other stuff. But yeah, we're just going to show the basic combo. So you normal summon the Diviner, and you send your Herald, of course, searching your Ritual spell. Then you'll use the Ritual spell, you'll summon the Conductor by tributing the Diviner, and then you'll go 2-1, 2 Diviner, 1 Conductor, so you can chain block the Conductor. You'll get your Nightshade out, and then you'll get your Devotee. Unfortunately here, you can be Ashed because your Devotee is not chain blocked by anything, so that is kind of unfortunate, but you'll get your Matriarch out of the deck. So you'll immediately then go into the Nephthys Link monster. You'll summon your Sacred Preserver, and then you'll activate your Sacred Preserver's effect. You'll add the Sacred Phoenix, and then you'll add the Ritual spell. Then you'll add the Ritual spell back from grave. So these 2 cards are going to pay for all the destruction from hand for your Nephthys cards, which is nice. So next you're going to immediately link summon the Nightshade off into the blue, and then you'll special back the Nightshade through its own effect. And then here you can either use Devotee or you can use Matriarch, it doesn't matter which one. But you're going to blow up the chicken in your hand, and you're going to special summon back the Devotee through its own effect. And then you'll immediately link into some more. So you have some more here, so you have free zones. And then you'll link these 2 off. The Nightshade will get banished. And the Devotee will go to grave for more follow-up. You'll special summon your IP Masquerena, and then you're going to use the Matriarch Nephthys. You're going to pop the Rebirth, and you're going to get back any Nephthys monster, it doesn't matter. And you're going to link these 2 off into your wing. And then these 2 will immediately turn into your Avermax, and end phase you'll get your statue. So the statue cannot be targeted because it's being pointed to by Simorg. Simorg cannot be targeted by his own effect. Avermax cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects, and effectively they cannot attack this because they must attack Avermax, so this can't be destroyed by battle either. So it is a fairly annoying lock. There's definitely outs. You know, Dragon Link playing Dragoonity package doesn't care about this at all, but your opponent can only special summon wins. You have 3 cards in hand. If they do out your board, you have the chicken coming back on the following turn, and you have your Devotee in grave for a follow-up play as well. But if they don't out your board, or they don't kill the Simorg, you have the Avian coming back as well, and you have the 3 other cards to play with. So that's definitely nice. But yeah, this is like kind of the bare bones combo. There's a lot more stuff that you can do with the deck, but this is kind of what I had in mind to showcase on the channel, just because this is kind of the most standard combo. This is what we're going for with off just 2 cards. Unfortunately, there is no 1-card combo in the deck just because of the fact of the nature of ritual monsters. But yeah, that's all I really got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to do probably an extensive combo guide with 5 or 6 combos, multiple different lines, and like the anti-nib combos will be in there as well. So be on the lookout for that if you are interested in the deck. But yeah, I really do love this deck. It was the first video I ever uploaded on the channel, and it's probably not going to be the last time you'll see the list. Very excited for Diviner coming out next week. But yeah, that's all I got, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.